Hey everybody, and welcome to the Inspired Disorder podcast. My name is Ray Taylor, and tonight I am joined by...
I'm a very congested Derek Helmer.
And I am a fully healthy Justin King.
And tonight we are also joined by our very first special guest, not because she's special, like, Short Bus special or anything, but Jennifer Townsend from the Studio 20 podcast, as well as blueeyedgirl.com, and that is girl spelled with an E. Jennifer Townsend, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing good, Ray. How are you?
I'm doing good.
Good.
So the Inspired Disorder podcast is an art and geek culture podcast. We talk about things ranging from tech to art, movies, music, video games, everything in between. We broadcast live Wednesday nights, as we are tonight. We generally start around 11:30, and everything gets posted up on Saturdays. You can find our live feed at inspireddisorder.com/live, and you can find the posted, edited, spit-shined version at inspireddisorder.com/podcast or in iTunes. In tonight's episode, it's going to be a very music-heavy episode, a very music-friendly episode. We are going to start by talking about the U2 concert that was streamed live over YouTube, and it's still available on YouTube. We're also going to discuss some of our favorite or notable bands that are very in the vein of what we talk about as far as geek culture and just some music that we like to talk about. And as always, we will have our recommendations at the end of the episode, and I'm going to talk about a few of the updates that have happened to the website, inspireddisorder.com. So let's get right into it and talk about our first guest, Jennifer. So tell us a little bit about yourself and Studio 20 and your blog and things like that.
Okay, well, let's start off with Studio 20. It's me and my co-host Derek Helmer, who's also on this show.
I think I've heard of that guy before.
Hi, everybody.
Yeah, there you go.
He's pretty famous, no? Just use him. I just use him to edit my videos. I don't care why he's on the show, but So basically, the show is a his and her opinion, and we discuss right now mostly about movies and entertainment, which is basically just what's on TV, like House and the shows that I watch every week.
Awesome. I just watched the new episode of House tonight on Hulu.
Oh, good.
The season is really good, actually. I like it a lot.
Well, I like it too. I just really miss all the pill popping. That was like my favorite part.
I don't know what that means or says about you, but I like how the show's changed. Like it used to be basically like the sick guy of the week type of thing.
Yeah.
It was more focused on who got sick and how they got sick, and now they're really diving into the stories of House and the other doctors and things like that, and it's more backstory stuff is getting really heavy, which is really good. I like it a lot. And then like the sick person is kind of like supporting that in a way. Yeah. So
I see what you're saying. Well, I'm just happy it's the original team again, because I did not like all those people they brought in.
Yeah. It was cool. It was a nice change, kind of shake things up. But yeah, the core crew is the best. I agree.
Of course.
All right. So what's your blog about? Do you just talk about? Is that just the home of your podcast, or what do you want to do with your blog?
Originally I started a blog so I can do a lot writing, and I really wanted to do video blogging. Kind of like similar to iJustine, how she does her videos, but not all weird like that. Yeah. It would be more personal and like basically a video diary about what I do every day, or just, like news, technology, whatever just came to mind. But then it turned into a writing blog where I wrote a lot. And then now it's made for Studio 20. And then whenever I have time to do like those tweet vids, yeah. Those are fun. So that's just basically what it's for people to get to know me.
So why is it that you wanted to be on this podcast so badly? Why? I mean, we talk about art and geek culture. I mean, what is it about us that made you so insistent on being on the show?
Well, just a lot of the stuff you guys talk about, I can relate to because of either personal experience or I kind of follow up on a lot of it. And I just like a few episodes, I was like, I've done that. Like I've worked for like Circuit City, and I like have insights of how it all flows, and I know the ways of computers, so I love this stuff.
Awesome.
She's one of us.
She's a geek.
Nice.
She'll deny it up and down, but she's a geek.
All right, well let's just get into the show now that we've been like introduced to our guest, our very first guest of our podcast.
Thank you, Ray, for letting me be on the show.
Well, I didn't let you be on the show.
I had
to bring you into the show. It was something I had to do. I felt compelled, not because I had a gun to my head or anything. It was just because.
Yeah, you did.
Well, yeah, that's true. And it was a big, shiny gun, and I was very scared of the bullets that were inside of it. So I was like, yeah, okay, I guess I could do that.
That, or I blow my nose and make loud noises during the whole entire.
Either you're going to be a main part of the podcast, or you're going to be the sound effects for the blooper reel. So anyway, you guys, both you and Derek, went to the true live in-person show for U2, but at the same time, a very historic thing in music and the internet, I guess, was happening. They were streaming the whole concert, or not the whole concert, but at least their portion of the concert live over YouTube. So right when I knew that was happening and I watched the live streaming version, I was like, well, we need to talk about this on the next episode. And, we haven't talked about music before. I mean, we've mainly talked mostly about tech, and this is not a tech podcast. This is an art and geek culture podcast. It's just really easy to just talk about tech news because it's, there's tons of news every week. So I wanted to make this a themed kind of podcast, a music themed podcast. So I thought the good headstone for that would be the U2 concert. And, the great thing about this podcast, we have many different views. And literally, we had physically different views of this concert. So why don't you guys tell our listeners about your experience live at the Rose Bowl. It was at the Rose Bowl, right?
Yeah, that's right.
So tell us about your experience there and just kind of your viewpoint on the whole thing.
Well, first off, I am a U2 holic. I can't deny it. Yeah, I love U2 like I love my apple. They go hand in hand. So I dragged Jennifer out there to go watch the show, and I think she had a good time. She certainly seemed to sound like it.
I had a good time. Black Eyed Peas was there. Woohoo!
Yeah, which I was not a fan of the Black Eyed Peas.
Yeah.
I was not a fan of the Black Eyed Peas until that show. They performed really well. I was quite impressed with them.
It's that U2 stage. It's got fire to it.
That's right. It brings out the magic of any performer, I suppose. No, it's definitely something to behold while you're there in person. Like, I've seen U2 once before at the Vertigo tour, which was in 2005. And it's always a major concert when U2's in town, kind of thing. Like, they're known for their stage presence and their gimmicky sets and all that. This thing was just a monster of a show. Like, I had never seen an outdoor stadium show. I've been in arenas and been to music festivals, but this I was so big I just couldn't imagine. You could see the stage while you're walking about a mile away. You could see the stage poke out over the rise of the bleachers at the Rose Bowl. Wow. So this thing is like 200 feet tall. It's just this monstrosity. The set being there, it's definitely. I mean, for me, I get chills from it just because I'm such a U2 freak. But it's such a spectacular thing to see. they had told us that before the show. I think they started broadcasting live around 8:30 or so.
Yeah, it was like they kind of started broadcasting a little early. I think it was like an hour before, or at least they started streaming stuff. Like there was a lot of on the YouTube stream. There was a lot of behind the scenes type of setup stuff,
nice.
Which is really cool. It's like almost like you're watching like a concert DVD and you're watching the special features of it.
Okay.
So it had the setup, and then they kind of did some interviews with the band, and they had. I'm pretty sure his title's not a roadie, but had that guy.
Oh, the stage manager.
Yeah, and he came out, and he was just. It was probably more of a sound check where he was just walking around the big ring around it.
Yeah.
Just kind of pumping up the crowd and things like that.
Right.
But it kind of started a little earlier, and what time did it start? In person?
For us, it started at 9:05. Okay. Black Eyed Peas went on at about 7:30ish.
Okay, yeah. So that was it was real time when it started, pretty much.
Okay.
So it was about a half hour.
Yeah, I mean, we had seen the camera crews all night long. They were there from the very beginning and getting audience reaction shots and stuff while people were filing in before the Black Eyed Peas even took the stage.
Yeah.
But. I mean, they told us, there were signs posted everywhere that you were going to be on live, webcast, which is always weird to see, that it's like that's such a mainstream thing now. All of a sudden, that it was one thing, when you were going to be the show will be presented on, on a network channel, but now you're just going to be on YouTube tonight, whether you like it or not, you're on YouTube, so very interesting to see that the signs are actually, just webcasts. And that's what it's called. It was just called a concert webcast, the first ever concert webcast.
Yeah.
Now I know that they've actually had webcasts before on like other smaller websites, but it was like a specific thing. You would go to a small website specifically for that show, where the show or the site was created for the show itself. I can think of a few instances like of smaller bands that have done that, but never on this global scale like how it would be on YouTube. We were told that 7 million people watched it live.
Well, I don't even know the numbers on YouTube. There was a lot. I think it was like over 1 million, but I don't know.
Million, bajillion, kabillion people.
Yeah, I think that was actually the scientific technical number.
Notation of
Yeah, so, and I just can't remember that many terminologies for number computations. So, thank you, Justin, for adding the literal numbers there.
So I'm here, man. No worries.
Thank you. Good research for the show. Appreciate it. So
we didn't know at the time of, we didn't have any idea, it was just that we were told it was record breaking for two reasons. The YouTube phenomenon that they were going to inspire that night, and then also in record attendance. Now I don't know if this is for just a U2 show in general or the Rose Bowl. It doesn't seem like it could be the Rose Bowl because there were still some empty seats in a certain section behind the sound booth. But there were 96,000 people watching that concert in person, which that was the most they had. They just kept saying the most that's ever been to a concert.
Yeah. Well, they could have just said that too.
They could have said that very easily, but it kept it kept popping up. This number 96,000. It was talked about before, and so you definitely felt like it when you were there. It was just like it was so packed, nonstop harassment. I was sitting on the aisle and just constantly being shoved and pushed by people streaming in and out trying to get to their seats, and it never ended. It was just that thing was crazy. And I've been to like country festivals. I've been to Coachella.
Yeah.
This actually felt more packed than Coachella.
Well, because it's literally packed.
Yeah,
I
mean, there's no room.
And still, like, alcohol and you two just don't mix because I got beer spilled on me. The guy was all crazy. Like, yeah, woohoo, and I was like, calm down, dude. Calm down.
Well, I don't understand how alcohol and you two don't mix, but...
No, it don't. Man, he was like a 40-year-old man all singing the words, and he didn't even know them all. And he's all holding a beer, slurring, and then he's like, woo! And then they left, like, seriously, an hour into the show.
So what was your take on the whole thing, Jennifer?
It was great. It was phenomenal. I thought the stage was very nice. It looked like a spaceship, all right. And the
Yeah.
lights and the effects, like the screen. Wow, that screen was amazing.
Oh
How
yeah.
they were able to change like the features to black and white, make it look like you're watching it like at home. Like it looks so great. And how the screen was able to like come all the way down to almost the top of their heads and then back up.
Yeah, it
was
would
Oh, yeah.
transform.
Yeah, was that some sort of projection technology they're using for that, or is that like an OLED screen or something? Or
I believe it's just a million LEDs that made up that screen, but
That's
it was just
insane.
like 2,000 different panels or so
Yeah.
that just move about and reconfigure themselves to make it just stretch out, and it's crazy that it looks as well as it does.
Yeah.
I mean, it definitely looks that like it's weird to see it on like a big screen like that, but you can tell. Oh yeah, that's like 1080p. That's a really high.
That's
Well,
what I
I
was
mean,
thinking the whole time.
I was thinking, wow, that's really good quality picture that they have on that screen.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, my whole thing is like when I saw a tweet, I think it was Zodi from Epic Foo, or former Epic Foo. I guess Epic Foo's no longer around. But she tweeted out a thing on Twitter. That's the place where you would tweet something. So,
Yeah.
so anyway, yeah, she did that, and I'm pretty sure that's like the first memory I had, which I'm pretty sure I've seen other things of it, but I don't know. Maybe it's just like, oh well, I'm home, and let's check that out because Derek's there. So I checked it out, and my preconception of the whole concert being streamed live on the internet was like, okay, it's gonna be like a multiple camera setup. It'll probably be like the screen will be split up into 4, and there'll be like static cameras, kind of like like pretty much everything that's streamed online for the most part. But then I go in, and then it's like, wow, it's really good production value. It's like they have people editing live. Just like a live. It's basically looked like almost like a good or decent, live DVD that you would get, concert DVD.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
or something you see on TV, like PBS or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
And that was amazing. And then I was like, okay, before the show actually started, so I had it going at 8:30. That's when they said they were going to start. But that was like that's when the pre-show started, or the whatever that was.
Yeah. Prep time.
Yeah, and I'm like, well, once this gets going, the numbers start piling up. This site's gonna crash.
Yeah,
I'm like this.
Well, that's what I was thinking too.
Yeah, I mean, every time they do some like crazy streaming thing, like, or some website rolls out some new live thing.
Yeah, anything that goes live.
Yeah,
is,
it's like a lot of times, like if you're listening to Twit and they talk about a website and they're live, and that's not even the people that download Twit. They're live and they talk about a website, and it's a small website that goes down when they talk about it, or like Dignation, or any of the popular podcasts out there, which in a couple months will have that kind of control. But right now, Twit, when they mention a website, they crash the website. So I was thinking, U2, this is going to be huge. It's like not only geeks are going to be watching this online.
Yeah.
It's going to be anybody that has any kind of connection to online and likes U2 is going to know this is going on, and it's just going to go down. I was just expecting, buffer. Because in that instance, it doesn't matter how fast your connection is.
Yeah, 7 million people trying to watch it all
Exactly.
at the same time.
Yeah, it's gonna go down. And literally, like, I watched the whole thing. One, it was amazing. Like, multiple camera angles, like the stage, like the production value on screen as well as the production value on stage. Like, the stage they had was amazing. But the fact that it only buffered a couple times towards the very end, and it was crazy. Like, when I was watching the Twitter feed on the YouTube page. They had the live Twitter feed that they kept track of the hashtag that they put out, or I think it was more than just the hashtag. Anything talking about U2,
Just U2 in general.
yeah, and it was just like boom, 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 boom. It was flowing like constantly. It was crazy, and it was like people from all over the world. So it's like many people from all over the world are watching this never before like seen live performance, and it's like really high production value, and it blew me away. I mean, the quality of the video was below. It was like high quality internet video, but low quality DVD. So it wasn't like perfect. Like if I maximized it, it was smooth.
Was it
like,
low quality even for YouTube standards?
No, it was like their high def thing, which is still like their high def is still not 480p.
Not high, not HD, but still,
it's not even like DVD quality.
No,
it's 520p.
It was basically that streamed, which was really good for a streamed video. So it was really awesome. And then just how they integrated the social media and all that stuff. It blew me away as far as. So that's why I was like, we need to talk about this on the next episode. And even Justin came in and saw it. Justin, what was your viewpoint on the show? Because I know you weren't there live, obviously, and you saw some of it live streamed, and then you watched.
I did.
Post.
I saw the Tron segment where the microphone came down and Bono had that crazy Tron Legacy got off it and started like swinging around.
Right.
That was pretty nuts. Now I did watch about the first hour of the concert later on. Some must be said for Bono and his ability to run around the stage and sing at the same time. That's something I haven't seen a lead singer do ever for any band. So
and at his age,
Okay, exactly. Not even I couldn't even hear him catching his breath. He was just running, singing, booking it too, like running. That was pretty wild. And the screen, like you said, just blew my mind. How it could warp and change, and the images they're showing on it. How they put the lyrics up on the screen too, so the whole crowd could sing along, even if they didn't know the words.
Yeah,
insane. Definitely mind blowing. Not a huge U2 fan, I must admit, but yeah, for a scale of a show like that to be live broadcast on the internet in that kind of quality to so many people, and like you said, for YouTube not to crash from it all, it's pretty impressive, and it does set a new benchmark for live entertainment on the internet, most definitely.
Well, I just think it's really gutsy of YouTube and Google to choose like someone like U2. Like you would think it would be a bit smaller of a band, if they're going to try out this new technology to do this live broadcast.
Well, not necessarily smaller, but a more recent band, like somebody that's hot right now, like Kanye West
or Lady Gaga,
Gaga, which I have no idea who that is, but I've heard of it before. That's how.
Take a ride on your disco stick. Something stick. You haven't heard that, Ray? Come on now.
No, I haven't, dude. I don't know, man. It's really sad that I host a geek but I'm not like pop culture podcast, so
you can admit it, Ray. This is a judgment free zone.
It's really, okay,
dude. Seriously, like with popular everything, I have no idea, dude. I am so behind everything. Like what the kids are listening to. I feel like a really old man. Like everything is like, oh, that's what the kids like. I don't know who God, what are those boys? They had a movie.
Jonas Brothers?
Yeah, there you go. The Jonas Brothers. I don't know who Miley Cyrus. The only reason I know the name Miley Cyrus is because somebody just tweeted. Apparently Miley Cyrus made a music video about why she's leaving Twitter.
Oh yeah, I watched that.
Yeah, I watched the beginning of that, and it's like it looked like 13-year-olds dance. I thought it was. I didn't think it was actually Miley Cyrus. I thought it was just like, some fan video. These 13-year-olds that like Miley Cyrus are making this video, and like even the first, like when she starts singing, the dub, like the syncing of that is horrible. It's like
it's not together.
I've seen like people dub English into Chinese and Japanese movies that flowed better with the mouth movement than her singing or like lip syncing to her own song. It was and then like in the background it's like 13-year-olds dancing, and one of them has a tramp stamp. It was the most ridiculous. I was like, what the hell am I watching right now? And
porn.
Then, no, I don't. What are you talking about? I don't watch
Wrong
that.
show.
I don't watch that kind of porn. I don't watch kitty porn. I watch adult porn. Yeah, but anyway, I felt very dirty watching that. And then like I realized it was actually Miley Cyrus and probably her friends doing that, and it hurt my brain and hurt my morals and all that stuff. So anyway,
Morals.
yeah. But just to kind of give a visual type idea of the U2 stage, it was basically like, it's the Rose Bowl, so it's like a football stadium, and in the center of it, they had like a circular stage, and then they had a ring around the stage that was like, a catwalk that stripped around the inner stage, and then they had movable bridges that went from the inner stage to the outer ring,
Like a clock, like
yeah,
hands on a clock.
Exactly. And I think there were like 3 or 4 bridges that went over.
Actually, just 2, but they're
was there
constantly
really just 2? Okay.
Yeah, they're constantly moving them.
Okay,
so.
yeah. And so basically, I mean, they come out and they do the thing. And when Bono was doing when he was singing and running, like, okay,
blew my mind.
He was like sprinting from the center stage over the bridge out to the outer ring, back over the bridge, back to the center ring, back over another bridge to the outer ring again, and then singing. And it's like I've seen the videos where it's like, this is what Britney Spears really sounds like in her mic when she's without the overdub from the speakers, and it's like but with
also
him,
a very good Scooby-Doo impression.
yeah, exactly. Well, maybe she'll rip her mask off and that's who's under there. But yeah, he's singing, and you can tell it's because he
live.
doesn't sing the songs exactly like like the CD. He sings it like a lot of live bands that have sung their songs a billion times. They kind of change it up in the live theater.
And he's also notorious for forgetting his own lyrics.
Yeah.
And so he ends up making up quite a bit of it. He's really big into improv. But
that's another thing I noticed when he was singing. Like, he missed the timing on a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
He missed the tone of a lot of stuff. But then what's Edge? Edge.
Mm-hmm.
He kind of does backup vocals. He kind of like helps smooth out the whole thing. Like,
right.
He's missing it, but I kind of get it in the background. But he's like sprinting over like this crazy big stage. Like, I don't know how
it looks like a 200-meter dash or something.
Yeah, exactly. And then he's singing, and he's not, I mean, you can kind of tell he's a little tired, but he's not gasping for air. I think it was before he did his whole jog and run thing, there was a time where he was up at the microphone and he was clutching his left arm, and like his left arm was like spazzed out.
Really?
I was like, oh my God, dude, he is going to have a heart attack. Not only live on stage, but live on stage and streamed to millions and millions of people over the internet. And then I was like, holy crap. I was like,
that's the way to go.
I was like,
hell yeah.
Our next podcast is going to be the most epic podcast because we're going to talk about Bono's heart attack live on stage. But then
this week's viral video.
Yeah, apparently that's just how he sings when he's calmed down. And then, he's a lot more, fluid when he's like sprinting around the stage. But yeah, it was, and then the screen above it, it was like a 360, like morphed out screen that like rose up and came down, and they projected like 4 different versions of the same image around the circle. So it was like the whole audience had the same view of the screen. And it was awesome. Yeah, totally. And you can still go to the pages, youtube.com/users/U2 official, or just, search U2 on YouTube. And yeah, it's the whole concert's there, 2 hours and 21 minutes, or at least the live portions of it. I don't think they have the pre-show
Yeah, I
stuff.
haven't been able to see it, which is disappointing. That would have been nice to see, but
yeah, it's up. It's up. I checked it. It's up right now, so you can go see the concert you saw.
Well, I'm grateful that I was there to see history in the making of such a momentous occasion.
my background with U2, I used to, I mean, back like Joshua Tree, come on. If somebody doesn't like Joshua Tree, I don't know what planet they're from, but they've made a lot of music. They've made the one album I don't remember what it was, but it was very synthesized, like
Pop.
yeah,
it
was
horrible.
Like, I don't know what's going on with this band. And that was around the time there was a lot of bands doing that, like No Doubt. I think it's the same time No Doubt did the whole synth thing, and then they died. But I'm glad they're still there and they're making music with instruments, because that's what bands should be doing.
Well, it'd be really sad if they went hip hop, after
well, they're not hip, just pop. If they went pop, like Britney Spears pop, that would be a really big bad thing.
Well, it made me worry when I saw that the Black Eyed Peas were opening for them. I was like, what kind of show?
Well, that's actually which you tweeted that you actually liked their performance.
Yeah,
but
they won me over.
I do not at any point like Black Eyed Peas. Like they produce some of the worst music on the radio, in my opinion.
Which was my opinion before, which is definitely. So,
but I mean, there's people that like it, but it's in my musical opinion, which this is our musical podcast episode. Black Eyed Peas is like, oh brother, especially now.
They only invited Black Eyed Peas because of how they're trying to evolve with technology, and they were kind of like out there, like U2 wanted to do the whole alien spaceship thing, so they just invited them because they seemed like they would do the same thing. And like they used the stage really well with all their effects that they had. Okay. I mean, it was still a great performance because of U2's stage.
Well, that's good. I mean, like that's the crazy thing about going to a live show is that, like, even if it's a band that you hate, if they put on a good show, then it's a good show, and that's all that matters, really. Is that it's a good show. We're going to get into discussing kind of three completely different types of recommendations. Kind of give people our background on music. Considering we're a geek art culture podcast, music is very much art. Music is becoming very much geek. So we need to give our 2 cents before anybody else does in the blogosphere or podcastosphere. So why don't you get us started, Derek, with what you got for us?
Well, briefly, I, as a wee lad, enjoyed the music of the 80s. Which is probably where my love for U2 came into play.
Which is funny because as a wee lad, you were born in the 60s, so you had some kind of time-traveling music thing.
Well, we'll get into that in another episode.
So anyway, 80s.
I was a big 80s music fan. I had 2 older sisters, so MTV was always on in my household. And, I think it was actually my older sister, Kristen, who introduced me to U2 on one weekend. The first song I ever heard was Still Haven't Found What I'm Looking For. So that was, I think that was 87. All right. So that is my band. Those are my boys. Awesome. You too.
Here.
But my musical background, what I've dug over the years, is besides the 80s music, I really got into the Belle Biv DeVoe era of hip hop, and my middle school years, it was all rap all the time. That was it. Like I voluntarily wouldn't listen to music that had real instruments. It was like, oh, that's old school. Of course, that was back before old school was even a word. That was,
well,
that's
back then you just said, oh, that's school.
That's school. So yeah, and then I really dug alternative music secretly. But it wasn't. It wasn't really.
You felt very ashamed to like.
I was like, music. No, I'm a rap fan.
Yeah.
So I gotta like my rap stuff. So
as you're pulling up your pants that are 3 sizes
yeah, exactly. Wearing my cross colors and all that. So I went the full route of that path, and then I came to my senses a little bit and realized that music with instruments is definitely not a bad thing. So I started liking Pearl Jam and really dug Metallica back in that time period. Guns N' Roses, who, by the way, I saw Slash the other day at the U2 show. Who he opened with Black Eyed Peas. He performed one song, so that was seriously awesome to see Slash in person. Anyhow, okay, so I went through my whole Metallica heavy metal phase, and then I kind of stopped listening to regular mainstream music, and I got into the geekiest like subculture of music you can get into, and that was movie soundtrack scores.
Nice.
Yeah, which I am still a big fan of. There's a time and a place. Like if I'm listening to homework, I still listen to like movie soundtracks, and yeah, it doesn't get any geekier than that when you're listening to just Star Wars music. So
Top Gun soundtrack. Was one of my
yeah,
all-time
exactly.
favorites.
I was thinking like, Braveheart or something like that.
I'm guilty. I have that too.
I do too. That's awesome.
I'll post my playlist. I'll show you what I got. I got like 4 gigs of this stuff. Anyway, so yeah, there was a time when I shunned like modern, pop culture music. I was just, no, that's not for me. That's for the weak-minded fools buying into society. So that was my way of rebelling, was that I listened to movie scores. At least that's what I told myself, But really, I was just a geek that really liked listening to movie soundtracks. Okay, so when I did start listening to music again, that was probably back in like 98, 99. I went through a phase where I would only listen to females. That had to be the thing.
You are a sexist.
I thought.
Good job, Derek.
I was like, they've got to be only female music because.
And that's when you discovered the first album by Blue Eyed Girl.
That's right. Those are the days. The magic was there. Yeah, no, there was something like, because I hadn't been to a concert at that point yet. So this is like 99, 2000. I didn't go to my first concert until 2002 when I was 22.
If by concert you're talking about like with a woman?
No,
Okay.
a show, period.
Okay,
I hadn't been to a concert
Okay.
with a woman.
I just making sure that's not like a code word. It's like I've never been to a concert with a woman.
Is that what the kids are calling it these days?
I don't know. I live under a rock. But anyway, I'm interrupting.
So yeah, and then like my first concert was Vanessa Carlton in '02 at the House of Blues. So that was my introduction into live music, and I was like, okay, I'm seeing a girl, so there's nothing that can be construed as like me falling in love with her that could be gay. That was like my whole mindset. It was like, I don't want to be like oohing and ahhing to some guy singing because I don't want to come off the wrong way.
Man, were you wrong?
So yeah, I kind of missed the train on that one. But anyway, so that phase lasted for a few years, and then I got back into my pure U2 mode in 04, where it's kind of held me tight ever since. So there we are. That's
So U2 is your favorite band?
Absolutely.
All right.
No doubt.
So what? Well, since Jennifer Townsend wants to talk right now, let's just.
Well, I was just gonna say, like, wasn't U2 more of a comfort band for you during a certain time of your life?
Absolutely. I mean, I had always liked U2. But the thing that actually led me back to them was surprisingly was the death of my father. And yeah, this became my comfort music. At that time, Bono, his dad, had just passed away like a few years before. And whenever he'd perform, he'd be doing these tributes to his dad. And so somehow that little connection was enough to, like get me to really keep listening, because I was like, okay, well, here's somebody who's like feeling my pain right now. He's still
do it.
He's still going on, years later, that he was talking about it. So that helped. And then the more I listened, the more I fell in love with it. And
well, just think, you were worried about being Google-eyed over Vanessa, and now you're Google-eyed over U2.
And I don't care. You can make fun all you want.
Well, Bono sprinted through like half of the stage and still like was able to sing a song. I don't know. I've never seen a musician or a singer like run that much and still sing that well. So you know, I liked their music before, and now it's like, wow, he's got a lot of endurance. You know, it's like
He's got skills.
As an MMA fan, like I'm a music fan, but as an MMA fan, the MMA part of me is like, wow, that guy's got endurance. That guy has like the stuff. You know,
Oh, he's got some scrap to him. That guy.
Yeah. So yeah, that's
Griffin.
Yeah, when I was watching that, I was like, dude, when he starts singing, he's going to be so fucked up. But no, I was wrong. I was so wrong. And you know, I was watching it live. I was like, wow, YouTube and U2.
Yeah, I was about to say that's such a similar, it's such a play on words there. I like how.
Well, it's funny, like in
how that sounds.
The like the special features thing they had, the pre-roll thing they had before they shot the live stuff was the Edge. They had the Edge on there, and he was kind of, you know, talking about the concert. And as a funny thing, he kept confusing YouTube with U2, and people off camera were like, no, YouTube is doing this thing, and he's like, yeah, I know, I've been with U2 for years. I was one of the original band members. I don't know what you're talking about. What are you talking about? He's like, no, it's going to be, and then like finally, you know, Bono came on camera. He's like, hey, what they're trying to say is that we're going to be streamed on YouTube, which is an internet website and stuff. But it was pretty. It actually wasn't funny, but they were really trying to be funny. No, it's funny because I'm saying it, but if you saw it in real life, it'd be
you feel sorry for him.
Like his acting is horrible. My recreation verbally with whiskey is slightly funnier, sadly. So let's move on to the Blue-Eyed Girl. What's your you know, your background with the music stuff?
Well, I don't have dates and timestamps like all these other like Derek and Justin here. All I have to say is, let's see, growing up, it was strict oldies like the 50s and 40s.
You are old, man. That's why you don't have timestamps, because I don't think they invented time then. Right?
No, but I was like, I don't know, like when does the decade of the oldies radio station evolve? That's what I was listening to. And then it went from that to older rock, like trying to think of some stuff my dad used to listen to. That's what
Didn't your dad like Journey?
Like Journey, Queen. I'm trying to think, like there's more. There's like Police and all those other bands.
A lot more.
A lot more.
I think U2 is actually in that category too.
Well, my dad wasn't a fan of U2, so I'm sorry.
Well, that's why you're going out with Derek, because you're rebelling against your dad.
Only if you knew. So
see
that, and then it went to because I have an older brother. His music started influencing me, so I wanted to listen to what he was listening to, which was hip hop, and then rap. A lot of rap.
What would have been really funny if you're like, what he was listening to, like Christina Aguilera and Britney Spears.
Well, actually, we did. We both shared those CDs, so I'm not going to deny nothing, but NSYNC was in both of ours, so. Good times, NSYNC.
And outed.
I really hope your brother doesn't beat me up for uncovering that secret from him. You're trying to talk about like decent bands that you and him listen to coincidentally, and then I'm like, yeah, and then he listened to like crap, and he's like, yeah, actually, you know what, he did listen to that stuff and this stuff and that stuff.
Like Derek admitted, come on guys, still listen to chicks. You know, he went through a chick phase. My brother probably went through a chick phase for all I know.
Yeah, true.
And then from just that, it evolved to rock. So basically, just about everything. I was never a heavy metal type of person or reggae or classical music.
Well,
I can,
all three of those genres are pretty much the same thing.
yeah, it's like I can stand listening to some of the Beethovens and Mozarts, but not all of it. Kind of drives me nuts.
She makes me turn it off.
I like the lyrics.
Yeah, if we're in the car and I happen to have it on my shuffle on the iPhone, it's an instant nope.
I
Where
gotta
are
go.
the voices? Jesus.
Makes me fall asleep.
So
draining.
you're comparing our podcast to classical music.
Oh.
No.
That's actually I actually consider that a compliment because there's a reason why it's classic. So eventually, if we're
You're very
around long
soothing,
enough,
Ray.
if we're around long enough, we'll become classic.
Be classically trained podcasters.
Yeah, we're not going to be a one-hit wonder podcast. We're a classic podcast.
We'll be remembered in the ages to come.
Yeah.
in the 80s.
And the proof is in the pudding, which is Jennifer falling asleep to both.
Oh man,
there's something
That's
for
never-
everybody.
Yeah. Yeah. You didn't think you were going to get shit when you were on the podcast, did ya?
no, I knew I was.
Okay, good.
Bunch of guys, one girl. I expect something.
Oh, it has nothing to do with you being a girl.
Oh yes, it does. Don't go there.
If Derek fell asleep during the podcast, I'd give him like more. I already give him tons of shit. Like most of our shows is me giving Derek shit for some reason. And
I know all the movies you've seen.
I edit the podcast and like, man, I'm an asshole.
That guy keeps coming
Yeah,
back
it's like,
every
I
week
need
to
to
record
text
more.
Derek right now and apologize because I feel really bad. So
Don't feel bad because
okay.
I do the same.
I'm classically trained.
Oh,
There you
there
go.
you go. Well, that's why you're on the Inspired Disorder Classic podcast.
Very good.
Yeah.
But as my music for now, I still listen to a lot of hip hop, not so much rap because it's just not a thing anymore. I still like rock. I like rock a lot.
So, what do you consider hip hop, though?
Like Black Eyed Peas, Lady Gaga,
Okay.
Justin Timberlake, Fergie. I can go on. Christina Aguilera, Britney Spears.
Yeah.
Just anything you can shake your butt to.
Britney Spears is hip hop?
Yeah, she's hip hop.
Okay.
Unless you want to consider her dance, but I don't think so. I think she's still in the hip hop realm.
Okay.
So it's anything you can play at a club, pretty much. Is
Pop
that
music?
There you
is
go.
Yeah,
that-
basically. I mean,
I don't know
li-
if the hip hop it works with that, but the pop works. It
Pop?
sounds similar, but it's completely different. Let me tell
Okay,
you.
then we'll go with the pop. How's
Okay,
that?
good. Yeah, that,
To,
that makes
to help
that actually
Ray,
makes me
to help
feel,
ease your mind, Ray, I'll just say pop. Okay.
that actually makes me feel a lot better because
You're welcome.
considering Britney Spears hip hop really hurts my brain. And
You're
that's
older
why-
than you thought you were, didn't you? You didn't see that coming.
No, that doesn't make me feel ageist at all. It makes me feel very sad and very confused.
Yeah.
And I'm crying a little bit. So Justin, while I cry, let's talk about your music history and your. Wait, Jennifer, what's your favorite band? I don't know if you said that. I don't think you did.
No, I didn't. You just cut me off.
I know. Well,
deliberately.
I'm a rude bastard. That's why I'm going back to you.
I could
'cause
see that.
I'm rude, yet I remember.
Sincere somehow.
Yeah.
That was a hard question. I was debating that. So I just have like a few real quick. Because that's so hard. Because like when I think of band, I seriously think of more than one person. I don't think of a single solo artist.
Okay.
But I still like Kelly Clarkson, but I don't like her new CD. I like her old stuff. I'm gonna have to say New Year's Day, Taking Back Sunday, and Reliant K. So
Well, let me just say something right now.
go ahead, Ray. I know you want to.
Since
So bad.
This is how I start my spiel. Let me just say something right now.
Mhm.
That Taking Back Sunday is one of my favorite bands.
Aw, I saw them live. They're awesome.
I have seen them live multiple times,
Mm.
and I started following them way before. It's like that's
Before
the whole,
their first CD.
Yeah, I was at the
Yeah.
Warped Tour many years ago, and I saw them, and it's like, this is a cool band, and it's like that's one of the awesome things about going to see a small band, especially when they like get notoriety. and Taking Back Sunday, and they kind of varied from the roots of music. They kind of got poppy-ish, but then they kind of went back to their emo stylings. But yeah, Taking Back Sunday is awesome, and I agree with you. So
have you heard their new song?
No, the last CD or music of theirs I've heard. Oh man, that's probably like a couple years ago that the last CD came out.
Mm-hmm.
So I haven't heard any of their new stuff yet.
They have a new stuff. It's not that great, so I think you should just listen to it.
Okay, well, it's not that great, so you should listen to it.
You should listen because you're gonna be like, what?
If you want to crush your dreams, go and listen.
Go
to
listen to it.
Yeah. So cool. Justin, and it's your floor or a virtual floor. You have a V floor.
Okay, so I'm talking about just my musical background now. That's.
Well, yeah, just kind of give us just.
Somebody wasn't listening.
Oh, yeah. I was, but
we. Well, no, he did, but I think he fell asleep.
Also.
Yeah.
Just listen.
No.
Yeah, dude. Stop it.
Just let me just keep like talking over you, and while you talk. No, but no, just kind of give us a little background of your music history, kind of like music, like how you've kind of morphed into different genres, because everybody has started out in one genre, kind of morphed into another genre, kind of morphed back, kind of
from when you're a little
you
kid
move,
to now.
your tastes move.
Oh yeah, I've morphed into several different genres, kind of in my life.
Exactly.
Well, then tell us, Justin.
Exactly. Tell us about your tastes over the years, and then kind of end it with what you're hot and heavy about right now.
Well, I started out actually liking musical soundtracks, sort of like Derek, but Derek later on in life, it sounds like. But I started out with musical movie soundtracks: Top Gun, Batman, Jurassic Park, just to name a few. The first album I actually bought was Offspring, their record Smash. The first song I remember getting into back in the day was Come Out and Play, which I'm sure everybody's heard.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was the band and that was the song that made me say, you know what, this is awesome. And it struck, I don't know, just something like went off in my head and I was like, this is it. This is what I like. So I branched off from there into metal, like Metallica, stuff like that. And I thought at the time that Metallica was the only metal band. So I had a little metal phase from about like 95 to 97. Then kind of gave up on metal in general. Started getting into more of like the punk scene, like Pennywise, NoFX, Bad Religion. From there, kind of branched into ska for a little while too. That was kind of back when ska had this big phase, like Real Big Fish, the Aquabats, Less Than Jake when they first came out. Like that stuff also. Then right around, I'd say 99, 2000, I heard of a European power metal band called Iron Maiden and just loved it. I had no idea that metal came from Europe and sounded like that and was that awesome. And from there, I started discovering more European metal bands. And all of a sudden, like the metal switch got like kicked on in my head again. And it was just strictly metal from that point on. Like, and from there, it went from power metal to death metal to black metal to all the craziest. Like my mind had to hear the craziest stuff that was out there. I kept digging into the scene and discovering more and more bands and different styles of metal and all the different subgenres that metal has. And that's pretty much where I lie today, is in the metal realm. I've also branched out since then and listening to like classical stuff, a lot of stuff like CCR, Led Zeppelin, a lot of classic rock. I love that stuff also. Also made a return to punk music as well. Discovered hip hop also right around 03. Started listening to the hardcore gangster rap era, like Dr. Dre, Ice Cube, all that stuff. Then I don't know. It's a real diverse deal. Right now, I'll still say number one style of music I love is still metal. But I love everything else also. I love reggae, I love ska still, I love punk still. But if I had to name one style, it would definitely be metal and all the crazy subgenres that lie within the metal scene or metal realms.
See?
That is my stuff.
That's
I am a self-profused metalhead, so
that's the
talk
best.
shit if you want.
No, why would anybody do that? Especially against somebody that likes metal, because that's really scary. But that's the whole reason, like, I got this podcast together, because we have like crazy different, like, tastes and shit, but we all love tech and we're all geeks, which is weird. So anyway, my background of music, I grew up in the desert, the Palm Springs area. I listened to the station I listened to was like an alternative rock station. Um, I remember listening to like Green Day and REM and things like that. And then the station changed their format. And when you're young and you don't know anything, you just listen to the radio station you listen to. They changed their format to R&B and rap. So I went from like REM and Green Day to TLC and Coolio and things like that. So I went from like an alternative, slightly punk, pop punk with Green Day to R&B and rap with like pop rap and stuff like that. So, and I didn't even know. I was like, I was pretending to be a skater dude and sagging. Like I was one of the first saggers, which was
That's
a
gross.
skater thing, not a gangster thing. And the gangsters stole that from the skaters. But anyway, so it went to R&B and rap, and then like somehow, like I got really into that. Like the whole what's his face? The guy that did Regulators.
Warren G.
Yes,
Nate
Warren
Dogg.
G.
Mount up.
Yeah, yeah. There was a whole like I loved all that music at that time, and then for some reason I don't know what it was, but I think it was those CD things that came in the mail that were like you get 3 CDs for free, and then all you have to do is purchase 10 CDs and you get 2 more for free. I did that whole thing, and then I was like, okay, I need to get this music, which was like Sublime and Green Day and NoFX, and they were like the popular like indie rock type bands at the time, which they weren't in that genre, but that was what was popular on the radio, kind of. Or in like Rage Against the Machine was really big then.
Yes, sir. I forgot about
so
them.
I did that, and then somehow I got into ska and swing. Like swing was really big for like a couple minutes.
Cherry Poppin' Daddies?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And that was the same time Swingers came out, and Swingers, the big reason why Swingers is so popular is because they came out and they spoke to the generation that was that was like in love with swing. So Cherry Poppin' Daddies and like that other band that was like, there was a lot of, it wasn't swing, but it was like big band stuff that was coming back too. And then that kind of led me back into punk, and that was through, NoFX and, Catch 22 and NoFX and Propagandhi and like really like more hardcore political, like rebellious punk type stuff. And then I started listening to like hip hop, like independent hip hop and independent, grungy hip hop and stuff like that. And I like right now I'm primarily listening to I like a lot of music. I like classic rock. I love, regular rock. I love, alternative rock. I love ska. I love punk. I still listen to all those things, and even the emo bands that I used to listen to, I still listen to those too. But primarily I listen to a lot of independent hip hop, which my definition of hip hop is like rap, but independent rap is my definition of hip hop. It's not like commercial rap, which like Puff Daddy and Biggie Small. Well, I guess like gangster rap kind of turned into like
Commercial
mainstream rap,
yeah.
but that I don't consider that hip hop. Like I consider people that were in rap battles or the type of like 8 Mile, like what 8 Mile was about like that music, how that came into people recording albums and stuff like that. That's what I consider hip hop, like kind of an independent hip hop. But I still listen to punk rock, and then it's kind of weird how punk and hip hop are kind of merge. And then there's a whole new movement with nerdcore hip hop, which it's kind of weird that the nerds, the first genre of music they tried to take over was hip hop. But at the same time, it makes a lot of sense because hip hop is very left field anyway, so it's not like a mainstream genre they need to take over. But with all that said, my favorite band, which it kind of relates to all that stuff, is the Red Hot Chili Peppers, because they're an alternative band, and the lead singer Anthony Kiedis loved hip hop, and the first songs they made, he basically didn't sing, he rapped. So he was like, the first rap groups and how they kind of just spoke over beats and things like that, and that's kind of how he wanted to do. That's what he was mimicking his first shows, and then they actually became a band, and then he like became a singer and can actually sing now. And they've evolved tremendously over the years, and that's one of the things that I like about them, is that they have like 7 CDs or whatever, and you can see their progression of growth through the CDs. But right now, we are going to be moving into some bands that aren't big, some lesser known bands, indie bands, something that our listeners may not have heard of, may have heard of, but they're kind of the smaller bands that we want to like kind of give a shout out to and kind of help out and kind of like let our listeners know, and because we have a very diverse like taste in music, it's going to be a good mix of different, or at least I'm assuming a good mix of different music. So Derek, we're going to start with you again.
Alrighty.
What is your submission for this section of this thing?
Well, I really don't listen to indie music, I'll admit. I don't get into it. I go with the flow of the big bands. But one band who is known, I just think they should get a little bit more credit than they do, is My Chemical Romance. Mm-hmm. I'm a big fan of them, and I really would love to see them in concert because I know they're really theatrical when it comes to their stage production. I really dig My Chemical Romance's music. I'm not a fan of their first album, but their last two definitely won me over. So I mean, they're big enough where they have their own tours and everything, but they're kind of already being forgotten, and I don't think it's time to forget them yet. So that's about as indie as I get.
Which the awesome thing about that band is lead singer like has a degree in art. Like he went to art school, and I know he does a lot of the like album art and poster art.
Yeah.
He does a lot of art type. He's very involved in that area of the band's like image.
Yeah, the image,
which is really cool.
He's really big into comics, as I am aware.
Yeah. So Jennifer, what's your indie lesser known recommend?
New Year's Day. They have one album out that you can purchase on iTunes. Sorry, the YouTube on iTunes, and it took them a struggle, just like every starting band. And their first album, they actually produced it themselves to get it out there because the record company, I guess, didn't have that much faith in them. But they like put so much money into this album. They actually were at Warped Tour just recently. And they're great. They're like considered a rock and something I forgot, but they're like kind of rock. But it's the lead singer is a female. It's kind of like Paramore, but not as intense. And I like them mostly because they're from Anaheim, California. So they sing about like local cities that I would know of. So they're a great band. You guys should listen to them.
Awesome. And what was that? One more time.
New Year's Day.
Okay. All right, Justin, you're up.
Well, I'm okay. I'm up. Here we go.
Yeah.
I'm about to talk about a San Diego-based band that actually my
Nice.
sister Aubrey King is the lead singer for. They're called 321 Stereo, and they have a cool kind of like electro pop, very 80s influenced sound to them. You can check them out at myspace.com/321 Stereo. I actually did some of the graphic design work for my sister's first solo album, and I'm very proud of her. She's in this band now. They're actually getting a lot of shows. Their CD isn't out yet, but it should be by early next year from what she's telling me. But yeah, definitely check them out. I'm very proud of her. She's a lead singer. She's rocking. 321 Stereo is my indie recommendation.
Awesome. And you've actually gone to see a few of their shows too, right?
I have. I've seen a couple other shows. Yeah, she played, or their band played down at what's that place in Mission Beach there? Canes. That was the biggest show they've had so far, which actually filled the house for the band.
Nice.
So
Nice.
impressive. Very impressive. For not having a CD out yet, they have quite a big following. So
that's good. All right, and my lesser-known indie band reco is Eyedea and Abilities. So let me give a little backstory to this. I used to work 2 jobs back in the day. I used to work at a movie theater, and I used to work at Blockbuster. And when I worked at Blockbuster, one of the supervisors there brought in this videotape called Blaze Battle 2000, I think it was. And it was basically like these rap battles that were televised on like Showtime or HBO or something like that. And there was this one dude, like scrawny white dude, and this was way before. It wasn't before Eminem, but it was around the same time Eminem was popular because Eminem came out like a couple years before with the first album. But he was this white dude in this rap battle, and his name was Eyedea, and it's spelled Eyedea. So I, like, your eye in your head. And he came up with it was like one of the most awesome. You can actually find it on YouTube, but it was some of the most inventive rap battle type things. So he got a record. He started making records slightly after that, and they weren't that good. And then he moved to Rhymesayers, which is kind of an independent label, like Midwest type thing, which most people don't think of hip hop coming from Midwest. But he's on that label with Atmosphere and Brother Ali and kind of these other independent hip hop guys. And he just came out with a new album, which, like, his previous stuff wasn't as good. Like, you can tell he's still like holding on to his whole battle thing, like not really flowing with the music. But in this one, it's really, really awesome. The album is By the Throat, and it's a really grungy hip hop type of thing, it's really good. I've been listening to it nonstop for the last 3 or 4 days. So that is kind of my lesser known recommendation for this whole thing. Derek, let's just move back to you with your geekiest / the band that's utilized new media or technology the most, in your opinion, anyway.
Well, no surprise here. I gotta go with my boys. Yeah, imagine that.
Yeah.
No, I don't think they're not a geeky band, and they don't necessarily come up with the tech ideas, but I think they utilize it really well.
Yeah.
I think they embrace like the new technology. They were one of the early adopters of iTunes. I remember they came out with they had like the whole Vertigo commercial for iTunes, but the iPod. And they were the only ones to have an actual iPod made, of their band, just the U2 edition iPod. And I remember that they weren't paid for the commercial; they were just paid for the actual sales of the iPod and whatever they would make on the iTunes store. I just think that they know where to go with with technology, that they're on that edge, of not, giving into just old media. And the YouTube concert, was just the icing on the cake. They've fallen off of the Apple grid recently, and it was because apparently the story is they wanted the U2 iPhone, which Apple denied, and so they took their business over to BlackBerry, and the entire U2 the 360 tour is sponsored by BlackBerry. So I think they're kind of missing the boat. Like the whole thing was that you would download a BlackBerry app, and that you could view the concert from the phone or something along those lines. I don't think it's necessarily cutting edge, but I mean, at least they're trying to get into the App Store in some way. But I think they chose BlackBerry just as an FU to Apple.
Well, that's like the second biggest market to get into.
I mean, they've got plenty of apps over there at BlackBerry, so it makes sense. But so yeah, there we go.
Awesome. So Jennifer, what's your geekiest band that's used or utilized tech in the best way, in your opinion?
Well, I did watch Nerdcore because you made that recommendation to Derek, so I watched it with him. I was quite impressed with those guys rapping about the things that they enjoy most that would be considered geeky, and how it's starting to catch on, and that people are, appreciating the nerds. But I would have to say YouTube because, not because of the 360 tour, but after learning more about Edge and how he just seriously, all of his guitar, like he always tries to make different sounds with different types of technology. He's just so in focus, and he's like, I can make a different sound with a different frequency and all this stuff. Like, he's very dedicated to his technology, and I don't know, I just think him alone in that band is the geek side of them.
Awesome. All right, so Justin, what's your info?
Well, I'm going to name a geeky band, not really a band that utilizes new tech. This band actually utilizes old tech in a new way. Their name is Crystal Castles, and they are from Ontario, Canada. What up, Jennifer?
What?
They put out their first full-length album last year, and to me they sound like a more punk Daft Punk, and they actually have vocals, which Daft Punk usually doesn't have. I consider them the geekiest due to their use of samples. They actually use samples from the Atari 5200 and Nintendo days of gaming. It's also been rumored that they actually use an Atari 5200 sound chip as an oscillator in their keyboards while they're making their music, which if you hear their songs, you can hear it. I mean, it sounds like you're listening to a video game soundtrack from the 8-bit days of glory. I found an awesome description of their music on Wikipedia, and here it goes. It's ferocious, asphyxiating sheets of warped two-dimensional Game Boy glitches and bruising drum bombast that pierces the skull with sheer, shrill force, burrowing deep into the brain like a fever. So yeah, they're. I think Kevin Rose actually recommended them a while back on one of the Dignations I saw. I'm not sure though, but I know Kevin Rose is a fan of them. But yeah, Crystal Castles. Their website is crystalcastles.cc. And they're awesome. They sort of use old media in a new way, in a sense.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Awesome, dude. So my recommendation is kind of in the vein of the Nerdcore Rising, which Jennifer mentioned. The Nerdcore Rising documentary, which documents the Nerdcore movement, which is kind of nerds taking over hip-hop for some reason. One of the artists from that movement is K.Flay, and she is, she does the hip-hop thing, and she talks about the nerd type stuff, but she also utilizes new media as far as Twitter. She has a Twitter account. She has a blog that she, the one thing about any artist that is in new media, the best thing they can do is update their things personally, not have like an intern or, a publicist or somebody else update their shit for them. I mean, that defeats the whole purpose. So she runs her own Twitter account. She runs her own blog, and she actually does like a weekly book club. Or I don't know if it's weekly, but she does like a book club thing where she reviews books. And then, she has a lot of friends that are in the whole nerdcore type thing. And then she did something that big artists like Trent Reznor and Radiohead have done, and that's to release a free album. And I can ask 100 people, and most of them probably wouldn't even know who the hell she is. But she just released her first album, which you have to pay for. But she also released like 2 weeks after that, she released a free album, which is kind of a remix of a lot of popular beats. And then she raps over them or sings. I mean, she's really talented. She raps, she sings, she knows how to play like guitar and stuff like that. And she's pretty cute, so that helps too. But the free album, which you can check out if you go to her website, K.Flay.com, the letter K and FLAY.com. That will take you, the opening page is a link to download her free album, which is Mashed Potatoes. So it's basically a mashup of popular beats and music mixed with her singing or rapping over it, which is awesome. I mean, it's stuff mixed from like Paramore to Red Hot Chili Peppers, Under the Bridge. So it's awesome stuff. And then she came out with an album with another guy called let's see what's called, Single and Famous, and there's music playing right now. Okay. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, exactly. So no, Single and Famous, she made an album with another like nerdcore guy. That a lot of nerdcore stuff sounds a lot like Weird Al Yankovic. Like Weird Al was way ahead of his time. Because he was like the parody of like popular music. And that's a lot of what nerdcore is, but there's a lot of original stuff in that genre, which is really awesome. But yeah, check out K.Flay. That's my my geeky. She's not only the geek one, like really geeky as far as what she sings and raps about, but she's also utilized new media in a really new way. And before we move on, I just wanted to mention some of the big big proponents of moving music into just kind of helping music evolve into new media. I mean, Radiohead has done tons of amazing things utilizing new media. U2, obviously, with the first ever live stream on YouTube, and then 9 Inch Nails has done some very similar things that Radiohead has done. And then there's a talk with Trent Reznor, the lead head guy of 9 Inch Nails, and they discuss kind of where Trent is trying to go with new media and just his ideas of how he wants to help music evolve. And that's Dig Dialogue, so you can go to dig.com/dialogue/Trent Reznor, or just Google Dig Dialogue /Trent Reznor. It's an amazing discussion that he has with Kevin Rose, and they bring up a lot of awesome topics involving that subject. And it's
really impressive. He's a really bright guy.
Yeah,
Trent Reznor, and I have a lot of respect for him. I knew about that before watching the Dig Dialogue, but
yeah,
you can really respect what he wants to do with music. So
and he comes up and he even mentions there's one of the questions is concerning live streaming a concert, and he kind of takes it to the bare bones arena as far as like people with their cell phones, using their cell phones to live stream the concert, as opposed to getting like what YouTube did with YouTube, getting kind of more of a professional, higher quality production of the whole thing. So it's really interesting, and especially that he was talking about it before the whole U2 thing came about. Although I'm sure any band that wants to kind of get ahead of the curve, it has been thinking of the same thing. But I just want to mention a few updates to InspiredDisorder.com. One of the things, because of the podcast, I've updated the podcast page as well as the live page. So the podcast page, I'm starting to add in show notes, so you can kind of, with timestamps. So, we kind of mention what we're going to talk about at the beginning of the show. So if there's something you want to listen to and not listen to something else, you can skip ahead. I leave timestamps so you can just skip ahead. You know exactly how far you have to fast forward ahead, so you can listen to the things you want to listen to, and you don't have to worry about the other stuff, because we do run kind of long. I mean, usually we try and keep it to an hour, but right now we're about 2 hours. So the timestamps and things like that. Right now, because our listenership is low compared to some of the big podcasts, our promotions and our sponsorship is web-based at this point. So going to inspireddisorder.com/podcast, you can see all of the back episodes and things like that, and then all of the ads that are displayed there, especially in the podcast section, like the Amazon ads. And then in the show notes, there's going to be links to iTunes and Amazon things. Any of those links that you click on and you purchase something, that helps us out, as well as donating to the podcast. So going to the website, even if you subscribe through iTunes, going to the website and if there's something that we recommend or whatever, buying it through the website helps us out. So as we grow our numbers, and then eventually things will change. Also, there's live, because we also do this podcast live, even though it's late at night. We usually start Wednesday at 11:30 p.m. You can go to inspireddisorder.com/live. That's where you can watch us live via Ustream, jump in the chat room, chat with us, chat with the other people that watch or listen to the show live. So that's new. And then there's also sponsors there where you can help out. And then last but not least, I've been working on kind of a big addition, and something that's going to take a while to really develop into the finished product. But it was at a point where I thought I'd release it now. And it's the Inspired Disorder social network. One of the things with Inspired Disorder, I want it to be a community of artists and creative people to inspire each other, help each other, kind of collaborate with each other. And the best way to do that is through social networking. And everybody's on MySpace or Facebook or Twitter or whatever, but creating a niche like network, where people, if you're local to San Diego, or if you're not local to San Diego, but you want to get connections with artists and things like that, go to inspireddisorder.ning.com. So it's inspireddisorder.ning.com. And you can join. It's free. It doesn't cost any money. And it works very similar to MySpace, but it's basically to connect artists and to help inspire people, which is something I want to do with Inspired Disorder. And there's also a mobile version, so if you have your BlackBerry phone or your iPhone, you can kind of keep up to date with your account, your site, through a web-based application. So, if you want to add pictures, post a blog, comment on other people's things, friend people, you have a lot of control over it through the mobile version. So that, again, is inspireddisorder.ning.com. And there's also a link through inspireddisorder.com to the site. So, join the community, help inspire other people, and get inspired by other people that are trying to create new and better things. As always, we do a weekly recommendation section at the end of every podcast. So this episode, we're going to have 4 recommendations. And the recommendations aren't necessarily tech-based or music-based, but they're basically anything that we're into, whether it be an application, software, movie, gadget, video game, book, magazine, whatever it is that inspires us or what we're into at the moment. We're just going to recommend it to you. So let's start once more with Derek Helmer.
I'm up. Okay. This week, my recommendation was something, continuing from last week's recommendation. Last week, I recommended the iPhone app Fire. This week, I did not recommend an iPhone app, but it is.
Well, calm down.
Sorry.
It's used in conjunction. It's Blue Microphone, their product Mikey, which is a freaking awesome little microphone. And for the price you pay for it, it's unbelievable the quality that you're getting out of that little thing. So it's about $50. That's how much I got it for. It was on sale at Amazon. So Mikey, what it is, it connects to any iPod of a certain generation, I should say. So not any iPod, but of the later generations that have the voice memo recording feature. I used it on the iPhone, recording on the app Fire, which does CD quality audio recordings from either your internal mic or an external mic. And so using the Mikey and the iPhone, I actually recorded the entire concert of the U2 show the other night. And
you posted? Did you post the whole thing on your blog?
No,
or just a clip?
I just posted highlights, just little tiny clips, just to give you a sense of the sound quality. I'm not in the bootlegging business. I wasn't necessarily.
But
Yes,
people want to find that. They can go to.
They can get it at my blog at derekhelmer.com. And it's the first thing. I just posted it tonight.
Yep.
So by the time you hear this, you should be able to download it, no problem. And I was shocked. Like, I had played around with it a little bit, but I didn't really have faith that the concert setting was really going to hold up to it. It has 3 settings. It's got the whisper mode, so if you're recording like dictation or a lecture at school, it's got that, and it's got medium range, which is just for normal conversation. And then it's got this concert mode, which lowers the decibel volume that you're recording at. And it held up perfectly at the U2 show. And we were right next to a sound stack. We had speakers just about 20 feet away from us. And, I thought, oh, no, this thing's going to be blaring with this microphone. But recorded it perfectly. I did tweak it a little bit. I will say that I boosted the bass on the EQ up a little bit to match the way it sounded in person.
In post?
But yeah, in post.
Okay.
So, I used Logic Express to tweak it a little bit. But seriously, if you need a microphone for anything on the go, especially this microphone, I couldn't say enough good things about it after that concert.
Yeah.
It's just, what an awesome little thing. So I'm a fan of Blue microphones anyway, but this is it for the price that you're paying for this thing.
Yeah.
I can't believe it's not like a $200 microphone. It sounded so well.
Awesome.
So Blue Microphone Mikey.
Well, just to add to that, Derek and myself both use another Blue microphone called the Snowball to record this podcast.
Another awesome.
They just make really good products. The Blue series of microphones.
Yeah, like their desktop computer microphone series. It's
Snowflake
pretty.
And Snowball and
Eyeball, which has a webcam attached to it.
Yeah.
Really high quality microphones for the price that you're paying.
Yeah.
I mean, they make a lot of professional studio microphones as well, and the price point for that is about $1,000 usually a microphone.
Yeah.
So they have both, they high level, low level, but their low level stuff is nothing to turn your nose up on. It's really professional quality sounding stuff.
And that is why we sound amazing.
Right.
Better than me, damn it.
Well, you know.
Got to step up and buy yourself.
You know, as the show grows and we get money coming in, Justin, you know, then, you know, we'll be able to upgrade everybody else. You know, we'll be able to get you a better microphone and get our guests better microphones.
Get your monies together and buy me one, Internet.
Exactly. Yeah.
Jennifer is actually doing the show tonight with the Mikey on the iPhone. However, when you use Skype on the iPhone, the audio quality is not anywhere near what you actually are recording.
That's exactly why I bought Justin a cheap little headset.
Yeah. So it sounds like you're on the telephone, you know, when you use Skype on the iPhone. But.
Yeah. All right. So, Jennifer, do you have a recommendation for the week? I don't know if you scheduled one or not.
I went with the PowerMat. Have any of you guys seen that?
No.
Oh, really?
What is it?
Oh, yes, I have. You have to put your phone in a little case, and then you put it on the mat with
Yeah.
and it charges your phone without cables.
Yeah, PowerMat.com.
Wireless power.
Yes.
Yeah, it reminds me of kind of like the Palm Pre, how you could charge your phone with just placing it on like this little black round thing, and it just automatically charges without having to plug it in. Well, they have it now. It works for Nintendo DS, iPhones, and Blackberries. But for like iPhone and Blackberry, you have to buy a special case to just slip it on, and you just place it on just this little black thing, and it just starts charging without having to plug it in ever. And then, except for the Nintendo DS, you have to buy the attachment, I'm pretty sure, to plug it into it, and then set the attachment on there to charge it. But I mean, you guys should check it out. It's really cool. You could just plug a whole bunch of stuff, just one device, and they have it where you could take one on the go, like you could charge it and take it to work and use it. It's really neat.
On a side note, there's a super funny commercial that they released on the internet with the PowerMat. And if you just Google, is it effing charging? You know, it's seriously very good use of internet advertising.
Nice.
It's very viral video.
All right. What was that? One more time. What was the name of that?
PowerMat.com.
All right. Justin, what's your reco for the week?
Meow reco for the week
Red
will
Laser?
be this app called Red Laser. No, it's actually going to be a website this week, and it goes along with our quote-unquote music theme.
Nice.
It is Pandora.com,
Nice.
which I'm sure you guys have all heard of Pandora.
Yes.
It's nothing new, but it does definitely go along with our theme of the week. It's basically killing radio. It killed radio personally with me. The only thing I listen to radio for now is like talk radio, sports talk radio. But yeah, you can create your own radio stations based on artists. It has this huge database of artists that actually will pick different artists based on what you picked for the artist, if that makes sense. So if you pick, say, Taking Back Sunday,
Belle Biv DeVoe.
Belle Biv DeVoe, Dr. Dre,
Yeah.
Brother Lynch Hung, all those crazy fools. It just makes a station based on whatever artist you pick. So yeah, it's awesome. It's free to join still. There's also an iPhone app, so I'm going to branch into that too. So
Nice.
It's sort of like a half iPhone app recommendation, but also half internet in general.
Well,
so,
the cool thing is there's an app for the Blackberries and stuff like that too. So it's not just an iPhone app.
it's not just it's a mobile phone app. There is
There
a
you
mobile
go.
phone app, I should say.
Exactly.
Well, I have a
A
question.
little delirious right now.
No questions. Sorry, no questions.
Oh my God. Question.
No. Justin, on your computer, do you use Pandora, like just itself? Because, see, with my computer, I had to uninstall Pandora and install Pandora Boy, which works better on my Mac than Pandora. Do you remember the problem what it was, Derek, that we had to do that? Was it because it kept crashing?
I've had a
No,
problem
actually,
Go ahead.
they changed I guess their policies as towards having a desktop application where they
having it
wanted you to
free.
pay for the premium service. Yeah, so pretty much whenever you would use the Pandora app, you would click like forward to the next track. It would take you to the website, and it would totally ruin the music experience. So Pandora Boy kind of goes around the corner and still uses it.
Yeah,
So
so if they have
definitely-
trouble, they should download Pandora Boy because that worked way better than On my computer, that is.
Whoa, Justin, do you
Sorry,
use
Justin.
Pandora? What do you use on your desktop?
I usually just use the website itself. I mean, I haven't really had a
Okay.
problem with that yet. I'm not sure what differentiates my Mac from you guys' Macs, but I guess
Maybe because we were.
I guess mine's just better.
No, we were. Well, see, we weren't going to the internet. We were actually downloading Pandora into the computer and just open it from there instead of having to go to Safari and.
So they have an app
So.
for that. And my recommendation for the week is kind of like Justin. I stuck with the whole music theme, which we didn't have to do. That was not the plan. It was just really easy for me to stick with it. Because, you know, I make the show and whatever I say goes. So I chose a specific album from a specific artist. The artist being P.O.S, the initials P.O.S, which I actually don't know what those initials stand for, but most people might think of them as piece of shit, which I'm pretty sure that's not what it stands for. The album is Never Better. He does hip hop. Basically, the story of P.O.S, not the story, because you know, we've already gone pretty long. But the quick and dirty story. He used to sing punk rock, and in the Midwest, and he realized there was a bigger hip hop scene in his neighborhood or whatever. And he thought that he could kind of communicate his messages better through hip-hop than through punk rock, because there was a bigger hip-hop fan base in his area in the Midwest. So he started doing that. And he has a lot of... it's Never Better, the album Never Better is very... like indie rock type of minimalist type sounding thing. It's not your typical hip hop. It's nothing you're ever gonna listen to in a club, which most of the hip hop stuff I listen to is not stuff you're gonna listen to in a club at all. It's very indie, grungy, dirty like sounding. But definitely if you ever like any kind of hip hop, or I don't know, want to just try and listen to something new, check out P.O.S. Never Better. I'm sure you can listen to there's one song actually, if you've ever seen the movie Brick, which is an independent movie which most people haven't seen, but the soundtrack to that movie, there's a song in that album, which I will probably, it's Been Afraid. That song, the musical accompaniment for that song, or that rap it reminded me instantly of Brick. So if you're a fan of Brick and you're a fan of hip hop, I guarantee, if you don't like it, you like both of those, and you don't like that song, I will refund your money. Just contact me at leolaporte@twit.com and I will refund your money in full. But yeah, there's no way you will not like that song if you like Brick and like the score to Brick.
That song is awesome. I concur with that choice.
The whole album is amazing, and I recommend anybody check it out or just listen to the demo on iTunes or whatever. So P.O.S. Never Better. That's my recommendation for the week. Jennifer Townsend.
Ladies first.
Yeah, well, that too. Yeah, that works too. Very gentlemanly thing, Justin. Thanks.
Thank you, Justin.
Yeah.
You're welcome. Just don't kick my ass.
So Jennifer, where can we find more of your work on the internet?
Of course, twitter.com/blueeyedgirl, GERL, and my Twitter account is linked to my Facebook and my MySpace, and they're all Blue Eyed Girl, or by my first name, Jennifer Townsend. But whatever I write on Twitter is whatever I write on those. And then also Studio 20, which can be found on YouTube if you just type in Studio 20. Or you go to blueeyedgirl.com.
Derek Helmer, where can we find you, sir?
You can find
the interwebs.
Well, you can find me at derekhelmer.com. That's my personal blog, my vanity plate, if you will. DerekHelmer.com. You can go there and you can listen to the sound that I recorded with my blue Mikey microphone at the U2 concert. You can also follow me on Twitter at twitter.com/DerekHelmer.
All right, Justin King. Where can we find more of your stuff on the internet?
On the internet, you can see my blog at jkdesigns.squarespace.com. You can also follow me on Twitter. I am twitter.com/JustinKing1, capital J, capital K, and the number 1. Also at facebook.com/JustinKing1. Also the number 1, and that's where I'm on the internet. Meows.
Oh, that's great, meow. So anyway,
Wow.
you can find me at twitter.com/RayTaylor. That's my personal Twitter account, and by personal I mean annoying, random, constant Twitter updates by myself. You can also follow if you're just interested in the work I do and things like that. You can go to twitter.com/inspireddisorder. There's no E in disorder for some reason. They said no to drugs on Twitter, and there's no E in disorder. But go there, and you can follow all the updates. So if I update anything on the site, it will be posted there on Twitter. Sometimes I tweet there through the site just because I'm crazy and I don't know boundaries. You can also join the Inspired Disorder social network. And bless you.
Thanks.
You're welcome. You can join.
Sorry, Ray.
No, it's okay. It was perfect timing. So, as I bless our co-hosts for tonight's episode, I also want people to go to and join the social network set up and brought to you by my website, which is inspireddisorder.ning.com, which Ning is spelled NING.com, just in case you can't understand me and my slur, because I've been drinking some whiskey tonight. And as always, you can check out all of the crap I do. Go to inspireddisorder.com, because I'm an artist. I do art, and I post audio blogs, and I do podcasts like this one. But if you ever want to ask us questions or leave us suggestions, or, just tell us what your favorite band is, or, an independent band that you love a lot. If you're in a band and you want to pimp your shit, send us an email at inspireddisorder@gmail.com for all your questions, suggestions, recommendations, and random whatever. And as we are doing tonight, as we've done for, I don't know how long we've done this, but like 4 episodes or so far, you can listen to us live. Wednesday nights, we start at 11:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, or at least we try to start then. You can go to inspireddisorder.com/live. Thank you, everyone that has listened and is continuing to listen to our podcast. We love all of your support. And, as always, peace out. It's like, I used to like classical, now I like hip-hop. So what, bitch?